year long, which causes flooding. It's dangerous with all the
Well, that's right. There's massive declassified global, from Africa to the Middle East to Asia to Russia to Europe, the U.S. to Central and South America, international, UN, Department of Energy, private corporate. Bill and Melinda Gates get paid billions a year to their private consortium to run a bunch of this over us. That's declassified, but what they're doing is classified. Then you tell the average person, they look at you like you got 14 heads. That's a great point. What about weird weather? What about going into an ice age? What about you know, all the changes we see going on, and then no one's discussing that it's weather warfare? Doug Hagman, your take on that?
Oh, well, I'll say this to the caller: think bigger. That's one spoke in the wheel of global tyranny, the weather modification. However, it's an important one. Water wars in the West. I understand that. We understand that. It's about the control, ultimate control over everything. See, it's now coming to a head, as we can see. Really, that's my answer. And it's interesting because as we sit here in our studio today, 50 miles from us, people can't even get out of their doors because of the level. I mean, snow up to the top of the doors in Western New York. You know, and we had weather oddities here. I guess, and you take that, yeah, it's all part of the globalist plan.
But see, that's how they cover up the Ebola. There's obviously Ebola cases, they're covering it up. There's giant weather modification, they're covering it up. There's just, who knows what else is going on. Caller, I appreciate your point. Anything else?
No, that's it, except for, I think, maybe future false flags involving Asia, like North Korea.
When did you send the article, or send it again to showtips@infowars.com? I want to see what you talked about. Thank you so much, Indigo Kid. Let's talk to Ron in Hawaii. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with everything these guys say. They're doing a full blast. They're not even slowing down at all. From the Ebola to the staged, thing over there from Missouri. And over here in Hawaii, they got at least 20,000 immigrants that showed up over here. Hello?
Yes, sir. You're on the air. Go ahead.
And they just keep going on and on and on. And what he calls the marijuana thing, if that guy's in it, like you said, I'm with you. If he wants it, there's a reason. It's got to be genetic pot.
Well, you're right. They've been manipulating the marijuana genetically, and who knows what they're putting in it. Another great point. That's the thing. When you got 7.5 billion people, and you got mainstream media deceiving folks, it doesn't matter if they're discredited, because they can still just put out disinfo to where we don't know what's really going on. That's why police are being trained that a citizen with a camera is the biggest enemy, because that video or audio they get can then discredit what the establishment says. That's why when I first told people about 6-7 years ago that all the new iPhones coming out and Droids would soon have kill switches in them where they hit one button citywide or countywide or in a certain square block area, it's whatever area they want, none of your video cameras will work. None of your internet will work. They can shut you off. This is the type of stuff being built into the grid. Guys, going to Joe and Doug, what do you think about Obama's call for taking over the internet to protect it? I'm for net neutrality, but Obama's run by the very same corporations that want to get rid of it. He admits he wants to tax it and control it, and so by claiming they want to protect the web, that's how they can destroy the web.
Well, exactly. Let me just speak at one thing that your last caller said. Alex, if there's nothing else anyone could take away from what we're talking about today, please, everyone, buy a dash cam, a self-contained dash cam. Record everything that goes on every time you're in your car. Okay, back to your question now. Joe, go ahead. The net neutrality.
Yeah, the net neutrality is what they want to do is control the content. It's not so much the worrying about who's using how much broadband or how much percentage of the internet's being used by, in this example, Netflix gets 36% of the internet traffic, yet they pay same rates as people who use, 0.5%. It's not about that, as they state. They want to control the content of what is being distributed on the internet because it is like the it's the Wild West.
That's right.
The only thing we have left with any semblance of freedom and non-censorship, except for the fact that they're finding ways now, and you've been a victim of this, and we have too, of the search engines from Google to AOL, all these different internet companies that suppress through their search functions and filters. So when people search for you or a topic you've covered, it gets suppressed and it does not appear as it should at the top of the page, or doesn't appear at all under the news feed or under certain areas. And that's just one way. They suppress numbers, and it's never ending.
And again, they're wargaming how to fight the people right now. That's why it's important that everyone out there listening get involved immediately in having your own little media operation, putting out what you think, shooting videos, showing folks what you've seen, so that they can't suppress billions of people. They can't suppress hundreds of millions of people in the U.S. If we all start putting out our common sense, their attempt at the background noise of fraud and disinfo will basically implode. Let's go ahead and go to Barbara in Illinois. Barbara, you're on the air.
Yes, hello. I feel that there's a rumbling of the people are like waking up. And I think that also the military has about had enough of this president. And I think somehow I'm the one who thought there'd be a coup. But I also feel there might be even an assassination attempt on the president. Because I think there's enough angry, there's just such anger out there now.
Well, by the way, oh my gosh, Obama was unpopular until he was assassinated. God forbid the last thing we would ever want would be for Obama to get assassinated, because then he could be turned into a martyr, and then they could lionize all the horrible things they've done in his name, and then say that you want to kill somebody if you're against Obamacare or against turning your guns in. In fact, I've been saying this for 6 years. The real false flag could be an assassination of Obama, or it could be an attempted assassination. But don't think that even though he's their Harvard minion and their golden, idol, don't think that the globalists wouldn't be above assassinating him to create a martyred deity out of him. Doug Hagman, Joe Hagman, your take on that statement?
Go back, Alex. Go back to the funeral of Nelson Mandela. Tell us. I mean, that guy, that fake
Sign language interpreter.
Yeah, that guy. Okay, was feet from world leaders, including Obama. Recently, the two jumpers over the fence. One guy getting into the West Wing of the White House. Explain how that happens. Maybe that's just a message out there. I don't know. We were looking at this because, in fact, we were talking to a Secret Service agent who said, it almost looked as if they wanted this to happen. In fact, the Secret Service agent, President Protection Detail, formerly under Bush, W. Bush, is saying that, look, this is also a theater. Perhaps there is a message being sent. Keep to our game plan, keep to the script, or you're expendable. Joe?
Yeah, I pray for the president and his safety, because you want to see a Ferguson in every city USA.
Yeah, that's right.
And that happens. That's what it will look like. And as you said, they will turn him into a martyr. And regardless of that, I don't even know if we get to the point where there would be able to be written history by people in the U.S. because of the chaos that would create.
Absolutely.
We're headed there anyway. We don't want to accelerate that process. And his safety is something that people need to be praying for, because just like an EMP attack that could happen from a country launching an attack, or the sun having a flare, that will stop society dead in its tracks, all the progress we've made, good or bad, and create chaos instantly.
Ramon in Florida, thanks for holding.
What's going on, brother and gentlemen? It's been a while since we've spoken, but the question you were asking earlier is what's going to be the top story of 2015, and in my opinion, it's going to be that some libertarian grassroots candidate is going to come kick the butt out of every other Democratic and Republican, operative that the system is going to throw at us, because since 2007, there's been a growth in the underground and people that's been understanding what's going on and what we need to do to affect change. So I believe that's going to be the biggest story. I
agree, and that's why they want to start racial division in the country by hyping it up, hoping that people don't come together for liberty.
Absolutely, man. Me and my boy Crip Ferran Paul have been traveling up and down the East Coast to different libertarian-minded events and freedom events, man. And everywhere we go, in every city, everywhere we've gone, people all feel the same way. They feel the change, and they know something's coming, man.
Very interesting points. God bless you, Ramon. Anything else?
Nah, other than the fact that you guys, the Hagmans, all you guys have been doing great work. You know what I'm saying? We're out here supporting you and doing our thing. You know, we got our own show now, the Revolutionary Cuz Show. We're trying to bring, you know, people from the ghettos of America into this movement because they need somebody to look up to and somebody to show them that it's not just white America or people with, you know, middle incomes, middle class incomes that need to be a part of this movement. Everybody needs to be a part of it.
Well, that's right. We need Hispanic leaders that speak Spanish to reach out as well, because everybody wants freedom. Everybody wants to know how the game is rigged. Everybody wants the rest of the story, and it's there. All these people trying to get careers in media through the dying dinosaur. I'm telling you, folks, if you don't get involved in the COINTELPRO cognitive infiltration, infighting, you'll be successful. Let's go ahead and talk to Kevin in Canada. You're on the air. Thanks for holding.
Hey, Alex, this is your 17-year listener from Canada here. I'd like to give you a comparison along with my theory of what's going to happen. My comparison is the relationship between the United States and Canada is a lot like the Book of Mice and Men. And it really seems that America can't keep their hands off the nice and shiny things, and Canada, in turn, has to somehow come up with an excuse or somehow bail you out. I'm really wondering, instead of blaming the politicians, when is every American going to look in the mirror and realize that it's not the politicians' fault, it's not even the globalists? 5%, just like you've said before in your show. 5% is all it takes to overthrow.
That's what happened in 1776, and we're trying to have a cultural revolution of liberty. The system is set up for a physical confrontation, and we probably win that one as well. It's just that we're trying everything we can to try to fix this peacefully. Do you have any other comments?
Well, the other thing I'll leave you with is I heard you quote Aldous Huxley, so I figured I'd go and read one of his books. Actually, I listened to an interview on BBC in which he said that he could see a time in which people love their servitude. I think we're there.
Well, sure. We've played the clips of Huxley explaining that they were going to build this world. He wrote Brave New World in 1932, and you read it today, and it's actually coming true. Well, he said, this is our plan. He was part of a British government breeding program that was never classified with the 5 other families. Most of his siblings and people died. They were his brother went on to run the UN. I mean, these people, it's just so incredible. Thank you, Kevin. Hagman and Hagman, I'm going to skip this network break and go right to the bottom of the hour with you guys. I want to go to Chris and others that are holding, but at the bottom of the rabbit hole from your research, what's there?
What's there is the ultimate objective, of course, Alex, is the very simply a one world order, a one world financial system, one world religion, and a one world economic system. End of story. And that's what's at the as far as our research is concerned, that's what the end game objective is. And we've got to think bigger. Everyone has got to think bigger. The attack yesterday at the synagogue in Jerusalem, that's part and parcel to this in many respects. What's going on domestically and will be in Ferguson, part and parcel to it. The taking down of the U.S. dollar. None of this is happening by accident.
What about the attack on the Parliament in Ottawa? That guy looked like a total cutout as well. Again, we're not saying terrorism isn't real. The globalists are letting these people attack, and we shouldn't give our freedoms up because somebody goes and does that.
No, not at all. Not at all.
No, absolutely. And, you know, I think at the base of this, I'm a Christian, and everything has been explained in the Bible, the attributes of the people, the falling away. As one of the last callers pointed out, you know, it is it's our responsibility as citizens of
humans,
right? And as humans.
Well, you said it. At the bottom of the rat hole is Satan.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep.
It's good versus evil, and it is you know, we see they're bringing out the animal nature or human nature of man rather than uplifting them to the spirit, leading them and pointing them to the spiritual nature, which is what we are all able to be.
Right.
But they're pulling us down to the basic animal instinct through our own human nature.
Well said. That is exactly what is at the bottom of the rabbit hole, is a spirit, a system, whether you believe in spirits or not, a manifestation through human interaction, through archetypes.